as to why am I here? What is the purpose of my life? Or is the purpose of this world, the universe?
You can actually do whatever you want in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You truly can.
Why, if there's so many religions that I haven't even studied that I don't even know about, why would I make my decision based on where I was born into? ¿Qué tal a todos? Tenemos otro episodio el día de hoy. El invitado de hoy que tenemos se llama Pastor Josh y nos viene visitando de New Covenant en Diversity.
En Laverne.
En Laverne. Uh-huh. Estamos el día de hoy con Freddy también.
Hola, hola, hola. Sí, este episodio va a ser un poco en Spanglish. Tal vez salga un poco más inglés. Tal vez salga un poco más español. Pastor Josh. O en español sería Josh, Pastor Josh.
El
Pastor Josh. Así es como te...
¿Suena bien?
Sí.
Sí,
yeah.
sí.
Y entonces va a ser inglés, va a ser español. Ya dependemos de cómo nos acomodemos.
Depende de la pregunta.
Sí.
Y la respuesta también. Entonces les introduzco a Pastor Josh.
Hola, how you doing? God bless you, Dios le bendiga. Just an honor and privilege to be here today. I appreciate you guys for inviting me.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, like you said, Pastor, New Life Covenant on
Yep.
Northwest Campus, Diversity in LeClaire.
Yeah.
Been there for now 10 years and lead pastor for 7.5 years with my wife, Jennifer.
Jeez.
That's the first time I hear lead pastor. I didn't even know that was such a term.
Well, we do have a pastoral team, so we have multiple pastors, but I'm if you want to put it that way, the lead pastor that directs and guides.
And
the
what
church.
does that consist of, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so we do have a team of about 5 pastors at the moment. So my wife and a couple others where they kind of help with, when it comes to the community, making sure the teachings, all those things that helps us function as a church. So, I'm paid staff and I have a administrative assistant that's also paid staff with me. So used to be my wife. I kind of missed her. Ever since she's left, I've lost a lot of weight. As she's been my admin, but I do have an admin assistant, so it's 2 staff members in the church, and so my pastoral team helps me just make sure that the church is running well.
When it comes to a church, what does a team really look like? Like the whole team. What is it? How many would you guys say help you need, or how many of you guys it needs so it could run?
I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and add before you answer that. This is all new to me. I didn't even know there was a whole team. If this is new to me, I could only imagine what our audience is gonna think. You know? So give them a little more info. That's why we're picking at it.
And that's awesome. I'm glad that it's a conversation. So a team in the sense that as a church we do have a mission and a vision, right? And so our mission is to be a church for the hurting.
Okay.
And a church that makes disciples. Disciples in the sense of followers of Jesus. That's pretty much what disciples means. And so, keeping in with that mission, we also have a vision: find Jesus, find community, find purpose. And so, in order to keep that vision and mission alive, there's things that we have to do, right? So, if we're going to make disciples, we got to teach them about the Word of God. We have to, come together and congregate, right? Worship, encourage one another. That can consist of counseling. That can consist of, programs for youth, programs for children, programs for married couples. So all of that, it does take help. It does take, strategy. It does take people to come together to use their gifts and their abilities to be able to make that happen, right? So, for instance, our pastoral team, I have some in there who are very wise, and so I would lean on their wisdom to help make decisions. And others are very good with administrative, have administrative talents that will help put together, for example, I had one pastor help me for 1 year create a Bible curriculum. And so, in that planning stage and strategy, she helped me, put teachers in place, helped me put all the curriculum together. And so, that takes effort, that takes work, that takes people to use their gifts. And so she's very well in doing that. So that she helped me do that for last year. We have, we do meetings, we come together, we, make sure that everything we do consists of the mission and the vision, and that it's, it's keeping up with that. And so it does take a lot of work. I'm trying to give you a summary, a gist.
We're listening.
But, I'm listening, man.
But yeah, man, it's,
this is all new to me.
I lost my hair, man, in the process of it,
Really?
So,
Really? Or are you joking?
It's a joke, but it's reality.
Okay, I'm like,
I did have hair, but I prefer to be bald. I prefer to
How
be
did
bald.
that happen?
Stress.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I want to go back a little bit.
Okay.
You said you guys focus on being a church of hurting.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Hurting in all sense, right? Sometimes when we think hurting, I'm urban. I grew up in Chicago. So, sometimes, in my case, I've seen a lot of drug addiction, gang activity. That was somewhat the norm around me where I grew up at. But, sometimes people think hurting is just in that aspect. But people can be hurting emotionally, mentally, right? In their marriages or as a parent, right? Like, man, things they just ain't working out. And there's so much ways that I believe everybody's hurting. There's no one on this earth that lives this perfect life. I think in one shape or form and seasons of our life, we all come to a place of hurting. Either it may be losses, it may be breakups, it may be, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
So we want to be a church that allows the space that wherever you are at in your life and how much you are hurting, we do have a message of hope.
But now that we're in the subject of hurting, let me ask you this. Who, upon like you in your years of service as a pastor, who speaks the less about their hurt, their pain? Which ones is like out of all your your experiences?
Yeah.
Is it men, women, children?
Got it. I think men.
Men?
Yeah, especially Latinos.
Yeah.
Crecimos con un pensamiento, mentalidad, machismo. And I'm not saying it disrespectfully. I think it's just part of our culture. Even for me, it's hard to open up and be able to talk about some things that hurt me or broke me.
Yeah, of course.
But I think I've seen the most are men, and I think second to that will be youth.
The young ones?
Yeah, the young ones. Because either it's hard for them to communicate that or either the shame that comes with it, whatever they're dealing with.
I think it's because you're too young and your voice, you might think it doesn't matter yet, or you're not someone important, so why would they listen to you and what you got to cry out of?
That's
I think
or when you do, it's kind of like when you're a kid,
listening?
grow up.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, when the Lord began to work in my life, I was so young, and I was in a place of depression and even considering suicide. And I was, probably 16, 17 years old. So, being young, But also, sometimes we underestimate, I think even much more now. I'm speaking about a time where when I was young, at least, I don't know if y'all remember Mi Gente, social media platform. That was kind of older. You know what I'm saying? That was out. That's what was out, Mi Gente and things like that. My page, if I'm not mistaken. Before getting into Facebook and all that. I think now even much more, you have youth dealing with so much pressure. I did one time a research for one of my sermons, and just the suicide rate for, I think, kids from 10 to 12 is so much more higher now because of social media versus it being, I'm a millennial, so, late 90s, early 2000s was my year of, discovering myself as a teenager. But, from those eras before, like, the suicide rate is so low in comparison to, like, Gen Y, Gen Z, or, just these younger generations, man.
I think it has to do with, like, the way that social media
portrays life.
Portrays that everybody has an easy life when it's not true, man.
Yeah.
It's not true. Even us, I mean, to get to where we are today, I mean, I had my share of bad things happening along the way.
Yeah.
As a teenager, as a child, like a lot of people see us now for who we are, but they don't realize who 8-year-old Yuyo was, or 8-year-old Freddy was, and how our life was at the time. So it's like, I don't know. It's just, I think it's social media just focuses on the good things.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show you how to get there. It's no different than, I don't know if you remember back in the day where it's like, hey, you being successful, how do you do it? What did they used to tell you? Just doing it, man.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing.
Nike sign, right?
Just social media. Yeah. Hey, man, how'd you get that Lambo? Oh, just got it, bro.
Really?
Right?
Like, there got to be some type of strategy behind that.
A lot of
I think
times,
it's the equivalent to that. I don't know.
a lot of times, the people that we want to relate to or we want to be like, we're seeing them like in their chapter 6, chapter 7. And like,
Right.
bro, you're in chapter 1, chill out.
Yeah, you don't
You're
realize
gonna get
that,
there.
that
But
for
like, you're in
example,
chapter 1.
even your own, life as a pastor.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a 10-year-old Josh, that probably went through some stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like, but now they see you as like, we are meeting you as Pastor Jeff. You know what I mean? We're not meeting you through through maybe the bad that you've gone through.
Yeah.
So
And I try my best, to be as real, especially when I'm giving my sermons or preaching about my life testimony, to be as raw and real as I can be, because I think you were going somewhere with this, is that we don't know who Yuyo was when he was 8.
right.
But that process from then to now is what kind of formed and shaped you to be who you are today.
Yes, sir.
And so if somebody looks at you and says, man, you're successful, it's because of the process. And I think that that's what we need to know is, man, who were you then and who are you now and how did you get there? And I think that process there is what shapes and molds you,
Yeah, but social media skips through all that.
Yep.
Yes.
And they just show you the today.
Yeah.
And it's like nobody's really interested in the whole process. People want results today.
Yeah.
And I think that's what has to do. I mean, I'm not saying all of it, but even if it's 1% of why suicidal rates are up, it's just, I don't know, I guess.
Comparison, maybe?
Yeah, because, dude, when I was a kid and I would see successful people, one, I was too young to even ask, so most of them would get disrespected if I asked them, hey, how did you become successful? What's your parents? Why are you talking to me? And stuff like that. And I get it. And that's what I'm saying. Maybe they're too young to talk. I don't know if I'm getting that where
Yeah, or you're too young, like you're not on my level, or you
right,
don't even
like
understand.
what's going on, and it's like, and social media just completely skips all that.
Yeah, that's good.
With the men that do speak up, do you usually see like the same pattern? Like it's usually like same situation, different person, same situation, different person? Or would you say like really everyone does have a different story?
It's interesting. A Bible verse that comes to my mind is that we all undergo the same trials or undergo the same temptations. There's no temptation more greater than another. It's simply it's what we all go through that we're faced with. And I'm paraphrasing the text, but to answer that question, a lot of the things are similar. Either if it's dealing with pornography, if it's dealing with unfaithfulness, if it's dealing with, certain thoughts or anger or pride, right? It's a lot of the same things. What looks different is how people deal with it and how people respond in the heat of the moment or the decisions that they make, right? And so I've sat with men dealing with same things. I can, think about 5 men or so that dealt with the same thing, but how they responded to that is different. Obviously we're all unique in our ways, but I believe that a lot of the things that we deal with is the same. I hope that answers your question.
It does. Yeah, that's actually very interesting because when you put it that way, it's actually true. I mean, everyone is dealing with the same stuff, just reacting differently.
Yeah. I mean, and there may be different levels of it, right?
Yeah.
You may be like in it, like, versus somebody who is probably at the edge of it, or is tiptoeing it, like, to see if it's cold or hot, right? And while there's somebody who's diving in head first. And so you do see the consequences, either good or bad, of those things.
Do you happen to see a lot of people that change it around?
In what way?
Like, if they come in with a problem or they were just dealing with a situation and then months later it's like,
they got their stuff together.
I got my stuff.
They turned it around.
I've seen that, yeah. And I think that out of me as a pastor.
A lot? Do you see it a lot, though?
It's, I think you hitting it, right? It's a process. And so we don't see that microwave.
It's a process
effect.
to even want to change, man. Because some people
The important
get
thing is
so
wanting
used
to,
the
yeah.
bad that it's like it's engraved in their soul, man.
Yeah.
It really.
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Like, I personally met people like that because I've been in situations where, I've seen people like that. So it's like, dude, you're in this situation and you not doing nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Making it worse.
It's just like, dude, how can I help you if you don't even help yourself?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard of this before, but the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, thinking you get a different result.
Shit. I've never heard that.
And it's
That one's good.
like, oh snap! Like, and sometimes, receiving that, like, oh, I'm doing the same thing, thinking that I'm gonna get something different out of this. And it's like, nah, Papa, you got to change your whole trajectory, right?
Yeah.
Change your whole way of thinking and
up.
so forth. And I think it does start there.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I have seen men specifically like take advice or take it serious. One of our pastors would say, in a very pivotal moment of his life, you know, the Lord spoke to him and says, take your life serious. And when he shared that with a group of leaders, I took that for myself. Like, man, there has to come a point where I got to take myself serious in my marriage, in my finances, in every aspect of my life. Have I gotten there yet? Have I gotten to the Z? No, I'm still working my way up there. I'm an imperfect man seeking a perfect God. And that's where I find myself at, like, okay. But I do have somewhat of like, this is where I want to get to. So I've seen men do a change around.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's scary too. I mean, how many, and it's like kind of like Sal said, it's like there's so many people out there that seem like, or they ask for advice, but they just want to hear what they have already made up in their own head.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody told me that one time, like, I didn't tell you because I knew that you were going to come a different route about this. And it's like, yeah, somebody who loves you is going to tell you the truth.
Yeah, and nobody really likes that. I mean, it's a lot of people who... There's one thing that happened to me in my life personally is, I used to say, oh, when I get in a better position, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And then when I got to that position, I didn't do crap, Yeah. So it's like, it's really if you want to change it, if you want to execute that, if you want to move forward with it. And I think that's the best life lesson discipline that I've learned so far is you said something that is very true. Like I'm married too. Nobody forces you to be faithful. Like nobody's waking up with a gun in your head. Like you're gonna be faithful today, mother.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's like it's you and your temptation and your person.
Yeah.
And your thoughts and how you discipline those thoughts and even something as simple as, hey, I'm gonna wake up, go to work, do this, come be back to my family. I'm not gonna be tempted to go with my friends and hang out and waste money that I don't have, and like it's I think it's discipline the way that I've learned it in my personal life. It sucked, but it's made me the person I am today.
Yeah.
Because it's really you, man. You're on your own, man. Like how many people wake up after football, Sunday night football, and they don't go to work on Monday? That's a decision. That's not.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah. And it's like you keep doing the same thing. It's
right.
like, okay, they got to come a point where if you're tired of the situation,
then they wonder why they get fired, and and it's like
it's the same cycle.
Yep. And it's like,
the
bro,
same
I don't know what I did, man. I just,
I think what you said is important. Like, what's your values? What is it that you value, right? Do you value family? Do you value, time? Do you value money, right? Things like that, whatever. Because if you do, then I think you're going to put more emphasis on those things. And that becomes priority for you. And I think that, sometimes, for instance, you said something about marriage, right? About fidelity. Well, I believe, here we go, I'm a pastor, so I have my,
go ahead.
I have my belief, right? God created marriage. It wasn't something that was created by man. It's God himself who created marriage for the betterment of society. And so, in his design of marriage, what I'm saying, and just an example, it's going there, is that, it's making a commitment that the Bible uses this term of covenant. It's a covenant. It's not a contract. It's not something that you can just get hire a lawyer and break the contract. It's a covenant, which means from life to death, to death do us part.
Right.
It's a lifelong commitment, and that's how God created it. And so in that commitment, you're basically saying that, your life before mine's, right? And vice versa. And I'm going to live my life for you and you for me, and we become one. I think a lot of the things that I can speak for myself and maybe a lot of men deal with is that when we get married, if you ever got into that position in life, we're still single-minded. You know what I'm saying? It's not that oneness of the two becoming one. That's what the Bible actually says. But instead, we continue with the single-minded. Like, I'm still going to continue with my way of being and not really consider, what is important for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so there is that struggle, and I think a lot of men deal with that because I have dealt with that, where it's like I'm still thinking about myself, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And not putting your needs before me.
Because it's hard to put your opinion on the side other than yourself, because
you only know
on
yourself.
your own.
Yeah.
Really, you only know your mindset, your opinions. You know, even right now, I'm the one who knows what I'm gonna say, and what not say.
Yeah.
So it's like, also society doesn't help, because nowadays it's like most females are told by their parents not to follow a man, to make their own path.
Yeah.
So it's like it's contradicting itself
Yeah.
right there with society, because it's like we can be single-minded as men, but they can be as women. I don't think.
Yeah.
I just think honestly, like I mean I've lived my life without faith, not because I don't want it, just because I told Diana in the episode that I was with her, it's like I haven't found my fate. I don't think I have like that, but that doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean that I can't make decisions, that I can't make, you know, disciplinary actions to myself, towards myself. Like, you know, I know when I'm having too much to drink and my family needs me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. It's an innate thing
Right.
in you.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
because I'll put it this way: you're created in God's image and likeness. God created you
right,
with a set of, you know, moralities, right, morals that we know what's right and wrong.
Right.
The majority of the time, right? If you walk down the street and see a man whooping on a woman, you be like, hold on, that's not right. Even the circumstances, right? Even if there is a
Right,
context there, but the fact that you see somebody stronger whooping on somebody, you know, less stronger, right? And I'm not minimizing women. Or if you see somebody, you know, raping, right? And excuse me if I'm being very explicit here,
no,
but you know that that's something that's wrong.
right.
It's in
We
you.
know
Like,
it's wrong in our heart.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it to me, that points to the fact that there is a creator. You know what I'm saying? Just like this building, you get to enjoy the architect put together a blueprint, right? And the construction companies coming together to build this thing up, where you have an amazing studio, amazing, you know, store and so forth.
Right.
And we get to benefit off that. But, you know, even if I don't see who the architect was, there was an architect. There was a blueprint. There was this setup, right?
That's true.
And I look at, and, you know, you can look at God that way, right? I can't see him, but I know that he created the universe, and that there's a uniqueness with humanity that, man, we all have this sense of morality. It's in us. The Bible says we all have eternity within us, in a sense, you know? And it's just the idea of that we have this sense of like, there is a greater being. There is a greater purpose in life. And I think I've wrestled with that at an early age, and it led me to this, where I'm at today.
For me, the reason why I haven't, and I know nobody's asking, I'm just sharing this.
Yeah.
The reason why I haven't, like, made up my mind with religions is, to begin with, I've always been a curious cat as a kid. You know, I've always, me and my brother, my older brother used to love playing the computer in the library, you know, the Humboldt Park Library.
Okay.
So I
Go
was
down,
forced.
Kedzie?
Yeah, I was forced to go to the library with him because he wanted to do that, and he does love to read too.
Nice.
So where I'm going with this is, I came to find out in the library at a really early age that it wasn't just Catholics that existed, or Muslims or Christianity.
Yeah.
There's over, if I'm not mistaken, 3,500 religions in the world. Yeah. So to me, it seemed, at a very young age, it seemed very unfair that I was born Catholic and now I had to follow that for the rest of my life. Yeah. To me, that was like, no, why? If there's so many religions that I haven't even studied, that I don't even know about, why would I make my decision based on where I was born into? That might not be my calling, right? Like, I don't know. I just always had a different train of thought. Yeah. And you said something that's very important that has always followed me as well. I mean, whenever it has been in question, I would be like, well, God, you made me this way. So, I mean, why give me the wisdom to be curious and then punish me for exploring, right? So, I don't know. I just feel like there's too many. I don't know if I would finish to see where my faith would be. I don't know. And I don't even know if, I don't know. It just seems unfair that you're born into it and you got to do that for the rest of your life because you were born into it through your parents. No, that's I don't know. I mean, there is a lot of people who convert. I get it, you know. But I don't know. It's just something I view at a very young age. Like, whoa, there's so many religions. Why do I have to follow this one? You know, like,
yeah.
What?
I mean, my response may lead us to another podcast show, right?
Right.
But a great point. And I don't think if anybody ever says it's wrong to be curious, then I think they're full of it. You know,
Right.
You should ask questions. If anything, to me, I love the questions. When people come to me, I'm a pastor, right? So, hey, why God this and why does the Bible this and how do you know the Bible was, man written or it was God? All the questions that comes that can even try to debilitate or destroy your faith, and it's like, man, bring it on, because this is how we grow, right? So I'm never against questions. I think that you asking questions, if anything, should lead you even closer. I think God invites that.
But I'll add to that, if I ever do, I will be a firm follower.
Okay.
Right? Like, if I ever do decide, hey, you know what, I'm going to become this religion, I would be a firm, devoted follower.
Yeah.
100%. Because I'm sure, like, this is what I want for the rest of my life. But I wouldn't oppose that to my kids. I wouldn't force them to follow me there. Like, it'd be like, look, son, daughter, this is what I do. Mm-hmm. This is what I believe in. What do you think? Because you got to ask yourself. I mean, I don't know about you, bro, but I was like, how many families are there that that don't even know that there's 3,000 plus religions in the world? They just were born into it. Yeah. And they're blindly following that because they were born into it. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I like to think there's a lot like that, and they're like devoted.
Yeah.
But it's like the moment because I've had this conversation with other people off the mic, and some get mad. It's like, bro, what are you saying? I mean, no, dude, like, I'm not trying to offend you. I'm trying to, this is my thinking, like, I'm just trying to express what I'm thinking. Like, if there's so many religions out there, why you never question your parents? Hey, why did you guys become, what if your generations from 5 centuries ago were not even this? Wouldn't you want to know?
Well, especially, where we come from, right? Like, as a Puerto Rican, I know a little bit of my history, but we come from Taínos, which is, natives, right? That probably has some type of connection with, I think, the Arawak people and connections with Aztec and Mayans. I mean, there's similar things there, right? I did a heritage DNA with my wife, and so I'm like 20-something percent Mesoamerican. Oh, wow. That's cool. Pretty cool. So I'm like, oh, I got some that native in me, right? But my point in getting there is that, like you said, right, if you go back and trace yourself, I mean, there was a different set of beliefs, right? There was a way of
your
living.
Past family, your past generation.
Yeah, right. So,
not
I
Christian,
think, correct, right? I mean, if you look at
what
history.
happened?
Correct.
That's where I'm going. What happened that we ain't there, or what happened that we're here now? And
I'm with you. I'm with you. Like, if anything, that's what led me to faith.
Okay.
I did have questions, like, man, and it leads. I think all 3,005 plus, right? 3,000.
There's more than that. I'm sure.
But it does lead to.
Search that up.
Yeah, it does. It should lead to a set of questions as to why am I here. What is the purpose of my life? Or is the purpose of this world, the universe? I think that there are some set of questions that what makes it a worldview. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so having that worldview is where he looked it up.
Over 10,000 religions.
Papa, you were short there, bro.
Right.
7,000 short.
Now I'm more curious, man. You just made it worse for me.
Yeah. But I think that if you go with those questions as to why do I exist, why this and the other, there is a set of questions on what makes Christianity, because there is, if you look at the words of Jesus himself, he says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. If you catch what he's saying there, he's saying basically, he's making an explicit statement. In the 10,000 plus, there is a difference between me and them. And so hearing it from the source himself, it's explicit. And his statements can also be offensive.
Right.
Because he's making a statement saying that there is no other way.
Right.
There is no other truth.
Yeah, like the other religions.
There is no other life.
Yeah,
he says, I am the way, the truth, and the life.
But in a situation like that, like, what stops another religion of that God saying the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, there are.
Right?
Good question. Yeah, the good question.
And I'm not laughing at it. I'm just like appalled about it. Like, dude,
Yeah.
Like, this is just me going back to, like, when I was 7 years old in the library, you know?
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome. For me, you know, in my limited understanding, I mean, I'm a continual, you know, learner, you know, so but what I've been able to study is that if you look at the Bible, for instance, you know, in the time of the Israelites specifically, you see that they become a people in the midst of already an established nations, which have already an established belief systems, which they serve pantheon of gods, which means multiple gods. You know, like the Hindus, where they have like millions of, you know, gods and
that's
so
the
forth.
oldest religion in the world too, Hinduism.
So think about it, right, but they have multiple. If I'm not mistaken, they're pantheist, which means that everything is God basically. So you have all of these different type of belief systems
and faith,
and this group of people come with, you know, the statement that there is only one God, right, which makes it monotheistic. And so you see the Bible present that case early on. For instance, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In other words, before time, space, and matter existed, the Bible makes an explicit statement. God was there. God was already in existence. In comparison to other religions, you might have different stories, right? Or you have different stories of how creation began,
right?
Where, you know, there is this sense of like, you know, like there is no somewhat of a beginning, as if God's always existed. Or how I won't speak much because I don't know much about of other religions, but there is, I've, you know, heard some here and there, right, that there are these stories that when you kind of put it next to the Bible story, it's not the same. Now there are some stories that have similarities, like for instance the Noah's Ark, the fact that there was a flood, worldwide flood. There's a lot of other stories from different religions that have similar accounts, and that even brings up questions like, okay, what does that mean? I believe it leads to the fact that there was a worldwide flood, that the Bible explicitly says that it was through, you know, Noah's time, and that God used Noah.
Scientists say that there's been many floods.
Yeah.
You know, and again, this is just books and actual scientists saying it. I mean, I can't name one right now because I don't, like you said, I don't study that as much. But I'm just curious about, like, how many times this, I don't know, man. For me, it's just a curiosity part. I can't even get over that. Every time I think I answer a question, like 10 more come in my head, you know, and that's, to me, that's very annoying. So I think that's the reason why, I guess it's more like, I've treated it more like out of sight, out of mind, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we're rational beings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We are, I think that's what makes us unique, right? From dogs, from animals, right? We are rational beings. We're conscious. We have this set of, like, man, you know, the Bible teaches that.
Yeah, because I even go as far back as that. Animals itself, I don't see the animals praying, you know? I don't see the animals going to mass on Sundays, you know? I don't see that, like...
Yeah, I mean, I did see some on Instagram where they teach their dogs to pray.
That's cool.
Before they eat. I think that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. I don't think they understand what's happening. They're just obeying their master.
Like, it's just, I don't know. There's so many factors out there, and I'm not trying to discourage anyone. I'm not trying to question your faith at all. Like, I'm just opening up about questions I've had in my mind. You know.
I love the conversation and where it's going. So.
But it's a conversation, you know. And I think this world forgets that people think for themselves, you know, and that's the worst part about all this. It's like, I'm not saying none of this to call anyone a liar or any religion a liar. Or, you know, I'm just like, dude, there really is. But in my mind, it was 3,500. There's more than that, obviously.
Based on Google.
Based on Google, right? So it's like, how can we, again, how do I know which one is the right one to go? And it's not about being the right one. It's about, if I'm going to become a devoted follower, I also need devoted evidence so that I can be a devoted follower, you know? Because when I mean firm, I mean nothing is going to make me turn the other way ever again.
Yeah.
So, like, for me to get to that point, I need to know for good, you know, and that's just me. I'm sure there's a lot of people like me, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that never question their parents.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay. They probably never even thought about this. Like, oh, crap.
If I can share of a season in my life where I was already when I graduated high school, which was a miracle in itself. But when I started going to college or university, I went to Illinois Institute of Art Chicago for graphic design. At the time, I was going for animation. And I remember when having my classes, man, I was, at this time, I devoted myself to Christianity. This is where I said, I want to follow Jesus. And so I was on fire, man. Just like, I want to read the Bible, I want to go to church. Everything I want to do is to glorify him. And so I remember going to school, man, my faith was rocked. I was dealing with people like one guy who basically, believed that the Egypt gods and, kind of attached to a certain race and so forth. And, just other people coming with their different ideologies. And I feel like, man, I was rocked in my faith. And I remember just like having questions that kind of led me to like, man, is this even real? Like, who wrote the Bible? Is the Bible reliable? Like, how do I know that it's not a man-made religion? All these questions, man, began to just like flood me. I'm just over here like, man, is this really true? But I think that questions, it's a journey in itself that leads you to where you should be. And I think that if you're in that place, Sal, I commend it because I think it will lead you to where, to the truth. I would say this is that there's not many truths. There's only one truth, absolute truth. You know what I'm saying? Not everything can be true in itself. There can be aspects of it, but there has to be one absolute truth. And so, I've come to believe that the Bible points to absolute truth. Like I mentioned, Jesus says, I am the way. And then he says, I'm the truth. So he's basically saying, I'm the absolute truth. And everything against me as a standard, that's how I understand it, is not true. And so that is, like I said, this explicit and it's offensive because like some you have mentioned, right? Like, how do I know if, how does that make other religions wrong or bad or, this and the other? But Jesus does make that statement that the disciples wrote down over 2,000 years ago or close to 2,000 years ago as an account, historical account that is reliable, based on history. So in those type of statements is now you have to wrestle with, well, then why would Jesus say that? And what makes Jesus different from any other religion, 10,000 religions that are out there. Maybe 9,999 because it's probably including Christianity is one of them, right? So yeah, I mean, it led me to that place, man, and it helped kind of just strengthen my faith. The questions, it led me to sources that let's begin to look at this. And so as I look further more into it, it further strengthened my faith in Jesus Christ. So yeah. There's so much I can say about that, man.
Yeah,
I know our time is
get
limited.
it. I've always seen it from the perspective of like, dude, if that's really what your faith is and that's you, then that's you, man. Like, do it. So. But I can never like try to make you convert or like to my obviously. Thinking, to my way of analyzing all this,
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
I mean, there was this one sense of illustration that was used as if there's 100 people in the room that have a certain type of sickness, and if you don't get a certain shot to a vaccine to help eliminate that sickness, then you will die. And so if out of the 100 people, there's one that has that vaccine and had the sickness, but man, now I'm good. Like, but if you don't take this vaccine, you're gonna die at any moment. The question will lie is, wouldn't you want that vaccine? Or would you just continue to decay and die?
I mean, I probably would. Most likely would, yeah.
I would.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Right.
I mean, you want to survive, right? You want to.
I mean, unless I'm old and I'm like, I'm done with life, then nah, bro, keep it for yourself. I don't want.
Yeah, I think the illustration is when I was, figuring out, man, this whole Christian faith thing. It kind of broke it down that way. Like, whoa, like then look at it that way, where humanity is decaying, and so this is where it leads to the whole set of questions that form a worldview.
Right.
Why do we exist? Why does death exist? You know what I'm saying? Why is there so much evil in the world? If Christianity says God is a good God, and why is there so much? I mean, you probably heard that before, right? And so, it's those type of questions that begin to help you shape, like, hold on, this is the difference between Hinduism versus a Muslim or Islam, or difference between this and then the other. And I think that is a good way to go, because then you begin to see what really makes sense, and it leads you to absolute truth. Like, why do we exist? And in these different accounts, what makes much more sense and what leans more to historical truth, that we are here today. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some that are myth, religions that are myth, and it's like, okay, how do we know that, Hercules really existed? I don't think that, what I'm saying, he did, right? It's more of a myth. It's more of a story that helped the culture people. But when you start looking at what is historical and what is truth, you start seeing things differently. Like, okay.
Could it be that, like, the media of the time just made things better for publicity? I don't
Actually,
know. Right.
it gets me thinking of people like back in the 1800s, 1700s, whatever, before glasses were invented.
Yeah.
And people that were blind like myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
That's true.
can you believe them with the things that they've seen? It's like, bro, you're blind.
Yeah.
Or like, hey, you have
blind
blurry
at the time.
vision. You have a bad vision.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you really saw what you think you saw.
Yeah.
Or there's also other people. Like, for example, there's been a good amount of times that my mom would get drunk or my parents would get drunk, and they'd be like, "Oh, this happened last night." I was like, I think you were drunk.
Yeah, I don't
I think
think
you were
that's what
pretty
happened.
drunk. But they go on the rest of their life. No, I saw it. I did this. I did this. Or they tell you a story that happened to her when she was in her younger, like when she was in her early 20s. And it's like, oh, and she tells you the whole story. I was like, oh, Mom, what were you doing that day also, the story you told, this scary story? Oh, I was out drinking with my friends. Oh, okay, that explains everything.
Never mind.
Yeah. So I was like, I think you're missing a very important detail of your story.
Yeah.
So it's like situations like that. It's like how many myths of like the past we've heard.
Yeah.
They're actually like not even true at all.
Yeah. I think going with that logic, I think there's a lot that are not true. One example though of Christianity if you go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15, if you have a Bible, I encourage you to read that. Paul is writing to a church explaining about resurrection. And he actually is giving you the tools to destroy Christianity. And the way he says is this way, hey, if Jesus never got resurrected, then what we're doing is a waste of time. He literally says that basically, I'm paraphrasing. But he just says, hey, if Jesus never resurrected from the dead, then we're still in our sins. He makes that point. We're still damned. Humanity, we still got this sickness in the room, and there's no vaccine, and there's no hope for humanity. But then that's where he states the faith, and it's the fundamental faith of Christianity is the resurrection. And I think that right there is where you start seeing, hold on one second, this message is, it either offends you or either you're like intrigued. I want to know more about this because this message is life-changing. And my point there is that Paul says, and this is where you kind of go with that thought, like, okay, either you were drunk or you were seeing things. But can you say the same thing for over 500 people who saw the same thing and express it the same way? Like, man, we saw that. Like, yeah, that really happened. Like, were they all drunk or were they all like high or were they all hallucinating? And I think that's one of, you know what I'm saying?
That was a good party, man.
Yeah, I know, right? It was like the Burning Man or whatever. Either they were all, hallucinating and just making things up, or they actually saw something that changed their life. And another point too is that they were willing to die for their faith. You know what I'm saying? In a way that if it wasn't true, would you really want to go that far?
And a lot of them did.
A lot of them did. You know what I'm saying? If we look at church history, a lot of them were either gnawed by lions, burned on poles to be used as a city lamp. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of, horrific deaths.
But I think
based on their faith.
Yeah. I think it's just humans are evil generally, man.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll give you why I think that way.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we do look at the history, even when like Christianity started like being more serious in the earlier years. Like, they weren't just, and I brought this up with in Carla's episode, because Carla had a similar thing, and I was like, Carla, if, let's say, Catholics and Christianity never came to be here, and let's say we were still in Mexico, we were still Aztecs, we were still Mayans, what would we be doing this Sunday?
Opening somebody's chest.
Still to this day, right? Sacrificing a child or whatever. You know, we wouldn't know nothing about that. And you got to think about all the blood that got taken away from our culture. I'm just speaking about us Mexicans. And now we're Catholics, and now we're going to mass on Sundays. It's not a good conversation. I didn't say it was, but it's like
there's some. I'll search it up. I want to see something.
It's like
it's interesting though.
Those questions to me are like, dude, like we wouldn't. If we would have never been reached, by even Columbus, whatever. What would we be doing today?
So look, there's this awesome quote I heard a long time ago. It says, "We question all of our beliefs except for those we truly believe and those we never think to question."
That's true, man.
And the question is why? You know, is it comfort? Is it because I grew up this way? Excuse me, I grew up this way. I think America is plagued with culture, Christianity. You know what I'm saying? It's just part of our culture that we're a Christian nation, right? But if you really look at it, nobody really practices Christianity. And that's a blanket statement. Let me pause. Can you edit that? What I mean is to say is that a lot of the people who say that they are Christians, the question is, do they practice their faith? Right? Is it truly Christianity, or is it just cultural Christianity?
That's another thing.
This is where I grew up at. This is, my family, Latinos, right? With, most
that's
of it's
exactly what I'm not trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to follow a religion that I was just thrown
Well, did you know you're not going to follow?
Right. That I'm not going to, dude, the worst thing that I want to do is, I got to get up for Sunday Mass. Because if I'm devoted, I'm devoted. That's the person that I am.
It's the same thing with marriage. Right. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be connected with this person for the rest of your life.
In the morning,
I mean, it's a constant decision. I heard a very good advice. You know what I'm saying? Love, many times we look at love as like Hollywood. How I feel, romanticism, all that. But actually, the majority of love is a decision you make. Right. You know what I'm saying? That kind of going back to what you said, man. Nobody got a gun on your head.
Right.
It's a decision you make, right? But going back to the point of, following, right? Like, you see a difference between the early Christianity versus what it formed itself to be later on, right? And there is a debate there. But early Christianity, man, there was a devoted people. And you see throughout history, people were dying for their faith. They were being persecuted. Yeah. I actually read something recently, last week or so, that from a certain time frame, beginning of Christianity to a certain time frame, 20-something million Christians died for their faith. They're saying that in this last century, or maybe even shorter, so not long, like maybe the last 50 years or so, 40-something million Christians have died for their faith. In other words, Christianity has been persecuted more now than ever before. And that's for me is alarming, because
that's also because of social media, man. Like the way that everything's being portrayed. I mean, you look at other countries and they're they don't have an option. You got to wake up to prayer. You better be on that carpet on the floor, bro. Because if somebody sees you not doing that, you in trouble, and your family's in trouble. And it's
women are beat because they don't have.
Right, and that's literally being born into it. You have no option.
Yeah.
Ain't no library to help you there to even think about if there's an option. And in their world, God forbid, you go against it. That, and then obviously going back to opening somebody's chest up because we were Aztecs and Mayans, I can see, just hypothetically, I can see Columbus arriving hey man, these guys are wild. We need to teach them something else, because what they're doing is
we gotta colonize them,
or not even teach them. It's just kind of I think we can't live with them.
Right. I don't think we were maybe we should I don't know. I mean, we weren't there.
We don't really know.
Same with the time of Jesus when he was here. We weren't there. all of this is just assuming. All of this is just opinions. All of this is just, you know.
I mean, there are historical accounts, you know, documents, you know what I'm saying, that you can read and kind of get a gist of like, man, this is how society was. But even before, you know, Jesus' time, when he came into the picture, you did have child sacrifice. I mean, that was something that you see throughout humanity. And it goes back to what you said, like, man, you think that humanity is evil.
Bro. Evil, man.
I can agree to disagree, right? I believe that we were created with for the intentions for good. But the question is what happened.
But like, look, let's play out a scenario here, right? Let's say Pastor Josh here. Let's say we're in the year 1000, right? Let's say you have your community, your Christian community is year 1000. You guys live great. You guys are in peace and harmony.
Yeah.
And then Sal and Freddy come aboard, and we come with a different mindset, and we don't like what you are doing with the people.
Yeah.
And we have 10,000 soldiers ready to attack you guys and taking over. That's what I'm saying. Humanity is evil, man. Now I mean, you guys were in your year 1000.
Yeah, with no law and order. You could just do whatever the hell you want.
You guys knew each other. You guys were in love and harmony. And then, boom, we came aboard, and then we changed your history. We got rid of your books. Because that's what has happened. And that's what I'm saying.
And that's what's interesting, too, is that, you know, and this is what leads me back to the Bible. The Bible tells you why. Why is it that Sal and Freddy would do that to this group of people who are living peacefully, right? Because you're actually playing out some stories in the Bible if that's what actually really happened. You know what I'm saying? That, you know,
and I'm just making this shit up in my head. Sorry.
I'm not it sounds so scripted, man. That sounds so good. But no, it's legit, right? And the Bible helps answer the question why. Why do we tend to go left when we should go right? Why do we tend to make these certain decisions that are not for the betterment, right? And so the Bible does give you an answer. And I think that's what makes the Bible so intriguing, is that it doesn't try to puff up or fluff the characters.
Sorry.
If anything, the Bible is not afraid to show that Abraham and David, these were men who were flawed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? David, for example, was considered to be a king that was just, to the point that it says that he was a man after God's own heart. But man, dude he committed adultery. He killed the woman's husband so that he can be with her. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there is a novela in his story. Yeah. And it's like, whoa, that dude was trifling. Mm-hmm. But then he's also considered to be a man after God's own heart. Think about that.
That's wild.
It is wild. And I'm telling you, this is the Bible shows us, right? And I think that's what makes the Bible so unique. And that's the position I take. And that's where I've come from, right? Where I'm asking these questions and I'm seeing how the Bible presents answers that make so much sense. And it's like, wow.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, in your peaceful year 1000, and if we come along, your peace and harmony is going to stop. You're going to be like, no, we need to defend ourselves. Because these guys are not coming with intentions to be here peacefully and harmony. Yeah, so you're going to have to fight for your people.
Yeah.
And now you're going to have to kill some of us, you know, like to keep your beliefs.
I agree.
Right? And that's what makes humans dangerous. That's what makes humanity evil in my eyes. It's like, damn, man, we can't see the rainbow on somebody, right? Sun shining on somebody because we don't like it.
And I think that it should lead us to a place of, man, where is there hope? Is there hope? You know, and I think that question should lead us to, like, okay, begin to investigate. Because when you investigate, which I agree, you know,
even in our own families, like modern families, it happens. How many families have we like heard of or know about? Like, oh, they were doing good, but then the brother got jealous and stuff started missing, you know, or stuff started happening, or, you know, it's like crazy, man.
My family story comes from that. You know, my biological grandfather murdered my biological grandmother because of murder. I mean, because of jealousy. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
So, you know, just it's real.
It's real.
It's real,
it's
man.
Happening. It's still happening.
It's the battle within. It's this battle. You know, the Bible's. Man, I'm telling you, man, it's just crazy. The more we talk about it, it's just how the Bible just highlights these things so clearly. Early on in the Bible, Genesis chapter 6. If you have your own time, read it. I encourage you. This is the beginning, right? This is where God, you know, created Adam and Eve, and so forth, and they have children. And Cain is one of the offspring of Adam, And if you ever heard the story of Cain and Abel.
Cain and Abel, yeah.
Right? There was jealousy that sprouted in the heart of Cain, and God's like, hey, why is your face despondent? Why are you? And God gives him this advice. He says, if you just do what's right, but sin is crouching at your door, and its desires to devour you, to destroy you. That word is crouching. It's giving this image that sin, this evil thing, right? It can be considered like a beast, a dog that's already, have you ever been in a position where a dog is like, growling at you and is like ready to attack you?
Yeah.
That's the image that comes to mind when that word is used, that sin is crouching at your door, right? In other words, it wants to come and destroy you, devour you, it hates you, right? And that's the very thing that we engage with daily. We tend to love sin. We tend to love the very thing that destroys us.
I got a question for
That's
that.
the battle.
From what I've heard, because I'm not a very religious person myself either. It's like, because people go like, oh, well, God or Jesus died for our sins. It's like, so why can't I sin? He died for my sins.
It's crazy.
No, I'm saying that's what people. I've heard people say that.
Yeah.
So, and then to me, I'm just like, I don't know what to say. I'm just like,
Yeah. Sin is
I
basically.
mean, is that true or is that not?
Say the question again?
So there's people that say, I'm like, Jesus died for my sins.
Yeah.
So like, and then people are like, so why can't I sin if he died for my sins?
So why can't I sin? Got it.
So they kind of believe it as in like,
Continue on
like
sinning.
like some people take it as in he wanted to die so I can sin,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, I really don't really know the.
So it leads to this thing that humanity's in a dilemma. That's how the Bible paints it. Humanity's in a dilemma. From the beginning, you see that jealousy, anger, murder, all these things are just, sprouting in man's heart. Jesus one time said, it's not what you put in the mouth that contaminates you. It's what comes out of your mouth. He was speaking about, sometimes, we say things or we do things that is evil. Back to like, man, humanity is evil. Yeah, the Bible gives you a picture. Jesus says it's what comes out of your mouth that contaminates you because it comes from the heart. And he says in the heart there's murder, there's sexual immorality, there's adultery, there's anger, there's jealousy, there's all this pool of evil, right? Did God created us to be that way? No, I don't believe he did. The Bible says he created us in his image and likeness. But he also created us with free will. A dictator, God would be a dictator if there was no choice to love him, right? Like, y'all have children?
I do.
Do you want your child to choose to love you, or you have to love me?
Choose
to love.
Because choosing it's that freedom, right? And
it's
you're
natural.
Right. You're giving that place, right? You're showing your child that I'm your provider. I'm here with you. You have space to express yourself, right? You have a home. You're doing all these things to demonstrate how much you love them, and in that place, you want them to choose to love you, right? Because that's the natural, affectionate way where it's like, man, it's coming from the heart,
right? Of course.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the point, is that God created us with that intention that we would choose him. But early on in the Bible, you see that humanity had a choice. Follow God's will or follow your own will that can lead you away from God's will, right? And so we see, and I'll summarize it here. It's so hard to summarize the whole Bible in just one sentence. But
in one podcast.
Yeah, right. One podcast. This is so good.
No.
I hope y'all invite me next time, but if not, I understand. But point is that humanity, majority, all the time chooses their own way. And that's what sin is, that we rebel. How would I say this? What if I tell you that if God created everything perfectly for us and all we have to do was choose him, everything that he made was for our benefit and for our good. Like, for instance, marriage. Marriage is for our benefit and for our good, even though society would say different. That's an example. But you see throughout the Bible that humanity and history, you said very good factual statements, right? That you see how humanity has made decisions to destroy, to come against others, right?
Genghis Khan is one of them.
You know what I'm saying? And so you see that, and it's like we've always gone our own way that leads us to destruction.
And Genghis Khan allowed multiple religions in his reign of empire.
You know what I'm saying?
He didn't have like one where you had to be.
Got it.
He was Mongolian. So,
yeah.
Man, at one point, I think it was like 80% of the world belonged to him.
Wow.
You know? So it's like, no, look him up. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with Genghis Khan.
Yeah, I heard of Genghis Khan.
Yeah, and I mean, but like, and now Mongolia is nothing compared to what it was. Back then, you know. But he would do that. Like he would like, for example, back to that, you know, little example we did in your year 1000, instead of him, he would give you the option. He would be like, okay, I'm gonna let you practice what you practice, but you guys are gonna give me taxes. If the day that those taxes stop, this is when my military will come in and get rid of every trace of that ever existed.
Which was what happened in Jesus' time, the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
You know, that makes sense. To answer your question, to finalize my statement is that we find ourselves in a mess. Paul says it simply: the wages of sin is death.
And at the same time, the Persian Empire was coming on a rise during the Roman Empire. So it was like, I don't know, man. It's just so many things. Like,
but it points back to, you know, what's in the heart of these empires or emperors.
Right.
It's control, it's dominance, right? It's money, it's all these things. I mean, the Bible says that the root of all evil is love for money, right? Not money's bad. No, money's not bad. It's the love for it.
Yeah. Because you want more.
Because then you'll do anything to get it. You know what I'm saying? You see that in so many people's stories. But Jesus steps into this world, Jesus being God, steps into this world in the mess that it is, and he brings the solution, right? The sacrifice. The Bible says that he who knew no sin, because the only perfect man, and I believe this statement, was Jesus. He didn't sin. He wasn't just simply a man, a historical man. Our Christian faith says that he, the incarnation of God, which means that God became flesh, right? God, in other words, God came into this world, was touched, was known, was seen, was heard. And through Jesus Christ, the Bible says that God was reconciling the world back to himself. But this is where it falls on the choice, back to the choice. You know, back to the person that would say, okay, well, if Jesus died for my sins, then why do I keep on sinning? Because the choice is that, do you follow Jesus? Do you trust Jesus, right? The Bible teaches me that the moment that I began to trust Jesus and follow him, I didn't cease to sin. I'm still a sinner. But there was this hope. There was this hope that that what he accomplished on the cross, that's why he died and he resurrected. Because the resurrection gives us believers, us Christians, the eternal hope that death isn't the end game. That death isn't the final say, true, right? That there is resurrection, and he says it's only available to those who believe me. And that's what, see, this is where Christianity can be explicit and offensive, but this is the statement and the message it does convey, that he says, whoever believes in me shall not perish, but have everlasting life. But there you go again, whoever believes in me. See, that's a statement that Jesus makes. And he says whoever does not believe is condemned. That's like the weighty message that he leaves for every human being to wrestle
in my
with.
experience, because I could only speak as my life experience, I remember when I was told that at a really young age as well. And I also remember something that has never left my mind. And again, this is from my mother. So when you're young, you believe your parents more than anyone in the world.
You should.
So when your mom my mom told me this, and I must have been like 11 years old or something like that. And she told me this, like, well, because in Catholic, I mean, I don't know if this is a true thing or not. This is just what I was told from my mother. So obviously I was going to believe it because it was my mother. So she told me, it doesn't matter what you do in life. As long as you repent at the last second when you're dying, you're good. You're going to heaven. I think I still remember that to this day. She said it to me in Spanish, but I still remember that from time on and on and on. You know, through my life, it's come back, those words from my mother. And it's like, and to me, now when I hear that, now that I have children, it's like, those are very dangerous words, man. Because think about it. If everybody truly believed that and their mothers are saying that to them,
they'll do anything.
They'll do anything they want for a long time until they repent, you know? And to me, like, I was, I guess, wise enough to know that. Because I was like, You sure right. about that, Mom?
If I murder somebody.
You really want me to just repent until I die?
Yeah.
But I don't remember why she said it to me. I just remember those words. I probably did something stupid at the time, you know. I probably hit my brother. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, something very powerful.
I've heard something similar as well.
Yeah.
Something I heard that was really powerful, and I was actually really glad I didn't hear it when I was young, was you can actually do whatever you want in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You truly can. There could be consequences, there could not be consequences, it could be good, it could be bad, but you can truly do whatever you want in life.
Yeah.
And also, like, if you
that
were
goes
to
back
tell
to free will.
Yeah, if you go back to telling telling that to a kid, you know, it's dangerous. And I remember you told me a long time ago, when you were young, you actually heard that.
Yeah.
And it changed you.
It did. I mean, I don't know, man. I guess my curiosity is always. Curiosity killed the cat. I don't know.
Real quickly, Pastor Josh, we have, because I know you told me you got to go around 1:30.
Yeah, we can do 1:40 if you want.
So it's 1:24. Yeah. I personally would like to end the podcast with this last question.
Cool.
What is, in your belief, the meaning of life?
The meaning of life. In my belief, the meaning of life is to live. It's to live. If you hear, and here I go, you know, this is where I place my trust in Christ Jesus. He says, whoever shall believe in me shall live. You know, if you really think about it, he makes emphasis on life. And so I believe, you know, it's crazy that when I'm actually doing funerals, I emphasis on this. And sometimes, you know, in the business of life, we lose touch on this truth, but I truly believe God created us to enjoy him, to be in relationship with him. And God represents and is the epitome, is what life is. And from the beginning to the end, you see it from Genesis to Revelation. The hope that I have, and I'm personalizing it, the hope that I have that if I place my trust in his son, Jesus Christ, that I will have life. And ask anybody, do they want to die? And you're most likely going to receive 100% of the answer, no, I don't want to die, because that is innate in us to live, because I truly believe we were created to live. And the fact that there is death in this world and destruction and everything else that comes with that just gives you that, hold on, there's something wrong here and there has to be a solution. And to me that, you know, the meaning of life, at least in my version, if you want to put it that way, in the PJs they call it, they call me Pastor Josh. Mm-hmm. The PJ version is to live, and to live is Christ. Paul said it this way: to die is gain, and to live is Christ. Crazy words, but powerful. Like, to die is gain, because he had it in his mind that to be absent from this body, which means death, is to be present with the Lord, which is Jesus Christ's life. And so it's as if we, as a Christian, it's a win-win situation. If I die today, I will be with the Lord. And at the end of it all, I'm still going to be alive, because in him there is life, and that's what he promises. And so there is an aspect of, not only is the Bible historical truth, but there is also a big aspect of it. Do I believe it? What does it matter if it's historical truth if I don't believe it? There is an aspect of faith. Faith is having confidence and trust. And so I do have faith and confidence and trust in Jesus Christ that what he says is true. And I believe that the meaning of life is life. And I'll leave with this verse. He says, the thief comes to steal and destroy, but I have come to give life and life in abundance. That's what he says in John chapter 10, verse 10.
Pastor Josh, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for another episode of Storytime con Yuyo. I just want to remind everybody again that this podcast is presented by Yuyo's Fresh Market. We are located in Belmont and Craig in Chicago, Illinois, 5020 West Fullerton. We have great people, great food, great store. Hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Pastor Jeff.
Josh.
I don't know why.
I definitely
I'm thinking
would
of
love
an old pastor. Sorry.
No, you good.
I would definitely love to have another episode where we can prolong it as long as it goes. I don't know about my brother.
I mean,
we can go forever.
We can go
I
forever
would love
on
it.
this. You know,
I was like, man, let's just push it up. You know, I respect the time frame, but I'm open. Let's make a day, and I'll make sure that I have nothing going on that day so that we can just chill out.
Awesome.
And truly, I don't mean any of this to disrespect. This is just questions I've had in my mind.
No
for
disrespect
a while,
at all, man.
You know, and to any religion, really, it's just to me, it's more like, you know, I've always looked at this world as like, maybe we're already living in hell, and this is the test if we get out or not.
Oh man!
According
to what the Bible says, this is paradise in comparison to hell. So.
Right.
Thank you again.
All right.
Thank you guys. Take care. Bye bye.
Y el festival.